It's season 2, episode 20 of the Hall of Fame show. Number 20. You know a famous number 20 is Barry Sanders?
Would be famous number 20. Also, Mr. Ed Reed.
That's true. But only one of them is currently eligible for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Shameless plug to start the show. Evan and I created this amazing site. Well, nothinghalloffame.com/USA. Go vote. You can vote for whoever you think is the greatest American athlete of all time. And amazingly, no one's done it. How did a Canadian who never met this American figure this shit out before anyone else?
Serendipity, my friend. Serendipity. I mean, we're forward thinkers, as you can tell by the fact they apparently somehow and accidentally in sepia tone. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I swear I'm not using a filter right now. I just apparently in a room that is super yellow wearing a beige shirt and decided that, yeah.
You are looking very Springfield-ish.
Yeah.
And now you're not. So whatever it is you're doing, I don't know. Now you're like you're like one of those old TVs I used to remember, where I sort of like have to adjust the filter.
There we go.
So, I was telling you before we went on, I am definitely the Nostradamus of picking hockey for the NHL playoffs. I am, for the 4th year in a row, the team I picked to win the whole thing has been eliminated in my old work pool. So, well, actually, they haven't been eliminated yet. I'm just assuming they're going to be by the time people have watched this. I have the Oilers beating Pittsburgh.
They're both out now.
Oh, Edmonton's already out? Okay, yeah.
Edmonton was swept.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
By Winnipeg.
I was drinking really hard last night. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was 2 nights ago, so you were drinking really hard. But they had a triple overtime game, and then they had another single overtime game, and Winnipeg won that as well. And then the Penguins got knocked out by the Islanders tonight. So,
yeah. So
here's a trivia question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 years, what's the last time the Bruins and Islanders played in the playoffs? 2 teams that have been around for a long time in the same conference. What was the last year that those two met in the playoffs?
Jeez, the Islanders have been so bad for so long. 2006?
1983.
Holy crap. Okay.
Mike Bossy was on the Islanders team at that point.
Mike Bossy. Oh, my God. Man, that guy could just score goals like crazy.
Yes, he could. It's that whole Islanders team has sort of gotten lost in the pantheon of great teams. They just sort of forgot because the Islanders have been bad, so you don't get reminded of their glory years. But that Islanders team was ridiculous.
Bossy, Trache, Potvin, Smith.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous.
4 Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so staggering. I should have used my power for good, though. I should have picked the Leafs because I hate the Leafs.
Well, they are going up against the worst team in the playoffs in the first round. I'm not sure even playoff Carey Price can help that Canadiens team.
No. So. Well, playoff Rondo's not doing all that much for the Clippers right now, is he?
No, but it's okay. He at least is playing better than pretty much anyone on the Celtics other than Jason Tatum. So
I saw the worst thing. I didn't click on it. It was on YouTube. ESPN is Kawhi Leonard's legacy being tarnished. No. Kawhi Leonard took 2 different teams on his back to a championship.
He took a Toronto team he was with for a year to a championship. No.
So the Clippers can be swept, and it doesn't affect his legacy to me one iota.
No, I think it does more for Doncic than it has any negative on Leonard. I mean, the person who's going to get the real blame for everything is Paul George anyway.
Right. And Doc Rivers is saying, "See."
Yeah, I know.
Of course, they're only down 2-0 as we're recording this, and things can change very quickly. They can very well come back.
They're good.
I think they're good.
I just think it'd be hilarious if they got swept when they basically intentionally lost to avoid the Lakers.
That's so true. I'll be talking a bit about the Lakers later. But I've got we haven't said that we were going to talk about this, but this just happened today as we're recording this. Adam Vinatieri is retired officially.
Officially, yeah. So he becomes part of the potential class of 2025
Yes.
because he didn't play last year, which means that it's interesting. You know who else is potentially class of 2025? Shane Leckler. So perhaps the greatest punter, I mean, Ray Guy, whatever, but Shane Leckler has an argument to be the greatest punter in NFL history, and arguably the greatest place kicker in NFL history will be on the same ballot. Now, I don't think Leckler is going to – I think Leckler will eventually be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's going to get in first time.
Right.
I'd be interested to see if Vinatieri gets in first time.
Him playing last year and being part of the 2025 first group of eligibles helps him more than.
Oh yeah, significantly.
Because I was looking at who else is he'd be up against. So I mean, the big name to me is Luke Kuechly.
2025.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Because he retired and he last played in 2019. I mean, Travis Frederick's an interesting case, but probably not. That's Eli's class, Eric Weddle, Marshall Yanda.
Interesting. I think I have him off a class in my head then. So then Leckler's a year ahead. I'm sorry. So Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think I had everything wrong. Eligible in 2025, right?
I did that for a full year with thinking Eminem was eligible last year.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I guarantee you Vinatieri will be a Patriots Hall of Famer in 2024 because the Patriots have one less year necessary in order to make it. So I'm looking at a site called Not in Hall of Fame for the eligibles for 2025.
Yeah. I hear it's a pretty good site. I haven't put up the one for Vinatieri yet.
No. So, but I'm just looking here. So we have, I don't know. You think he'll beat out Matt Bryant?
To be fair, anytime that someone's got at least a Pro Bowl.
That's true. That's true.
Or there's some long snappers that I've did like 2-sentence bios for.
Yeah. So we got Marshall Yanda,
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pouncey, Luke Kuechly, excuse me. Eli, Eric Weddle, Darren Sproles is an interesting one. The real question is, when they induct Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, which of his kids gets the speech?
Nice. So I don't like Vinatieri is going to get in. I just don't know whether he's going to be a first ballot because it's the same issue that will always plague a special teams player. Is he ever going to be the top 5 in that? Vinatieri could be.
I think the fact that Morton Anderson got in a few years ago actually helps him because Anderson was NFL's all-time scoring leader. Vinatieri's number 2 all-time in games played. He's number 1 in scoring. He's the franchise leader in points for both the Patriots and Colts,
right?
Which is a big deal. He also has some of the 10 most iconic made field goals in NFL history. He's got like 3 of them. So including number 1. The one in the snowball game, or as the Raiders fans call it, the tuck game. That is still, I think, mostly considered the greatest kick in NFL history.
I was just thinking off the top of my head here. That I think will be when I have you on for the sports review show. Let's do that game instead of the Patriots Bears.
Oh, sure. I'd love to do that game.
I've actually never seen it until I've never seen that game. All I saw was just the kick because I was with my ex-wife. If you're watching this, go fuck yourself. I'm not bitter at all, though.
Wow. That got dark real fast.
No, I'm doing really well. I'm in Barbados, and everyone thinks of my current wife as the upgrade. I called her the current wife. That's not good.
Yeah. The long-term wife. Hey, I love your wife. She thought I was 25 when she saw me last week. So I like that.
Almost everyone loves my wife better than me. But I remember we got into a hotel, so I'm rushing to turn it on, and then, okay, it's still on. So I only saw that kick of that game. So I would love to go back and actually watch that.
I'd be up for that, certainly. That's an interesting game. I almost feel like you need You need a Patriot hater on there, a Raiders fan as well.
I know just the person.
That would be interesting to watch. So
Yeah.
yeah, you get the Violator on there? No kidding.
That's what do you think I'm thinking?
I was trying to follow your thought process.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I have a friend who is a huge Michigan fan, but still hates Tom Brady because he loved Rod Woodson so much, or Charles Woodson so much, and blames that thing for completely changing the history of the NFL. So, yeah. But anyway, the crazy thing is the Tuck rule is still with us 20 years later.
I think I read somebody say that it was literally Vinatieri who kickstarted that entire dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that. Certainly argue that.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't win that game. Who knows what happens?
And to your coworker's point that you can tell the entire the history of football without Calvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Vinatieri is one of those guys you can't tell the story of football without Vinatieri.
You can do it without Morton Anderson. You can't do it without Adam Vinatieri.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
Vinatieri is either a first ballot or a third ballot.
Yeah, because class of 2026 is nuts. That's no offense to Vinatieri.
No, there's none whatsoever.
2026 is like 7 first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't know what they're going to do.
So crazy. But I thought this would be sort of like a good way to sort of open up because we've got a future Hall of Famer. Potentially the first ever special teams player to get in first ballot.
That is true. Although, hold on, I want to get a list up here. Just to give you an idea, though, how old Vinatieri is and how long he's played. With Vinatieri officially retiring, that leaves us with 3 players left who played in the 1990s in professional sports.
In pro sport, all
of the 4 major pro sports. A few years ago, in the last couple of years, we've lost now with Vinatieri retiring. I'm presuming Bartolo Colon is retired, although he's still playing in minor leagues. We lost Colon, Phil Dawson, Adam Vinatieri, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, Matt Cullen, and Roberto Luongo. So there are only 3 left, and they all play hockey. Can you name them?
Well, wait a minute. Albert Pujols is over 40.
No, but he didn't play in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Brady also didn't play in the 90s, even though he's been around.
I guess Chara's got to be one.
Dano Chara's one. Who are the other 2? I'll give you a hint if you want.
Yeah, please.
Long time teammates.
With Chara? Oh, they're teammates with each other.
Yes.
Well, it's not Ovechkin. He's on 35. Joe Thornton.
And?
Patrick Marleau.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the last 3. Chara, Thornton, and Marleau. Which one do you think's the last one standing?
If Thornton wins the Stanley Cup this year with Toronto, I could see him just sort of like bowing out at this point.
Yeah.
Chara man, that guy's so good. He's just so ageless. I'd say Chara.
I think it's Chara too. I think Marleau. I think Thornton is closer to retiring than the other 2, but I think Chara outlasts Marleau. So, I think Chara may be the last one, which is crazy. But I was looking for this list. I couldn't find, but just to give you an idea how old Vinatieri is. First of all, Vinatieri in his rookie year in 1996, he started in 1996, beat out Matt Barr for the kicking position for the Patriots. Matt Barr was the kicker for the 79 Steelers. Then they won the Super Bowl. First of all.
Wow.
Secondly, someone had a list, and I can't find it right now. If I can find it later, I'll get it. There are 22 Hall of Famers who started their careers, finished their careers, and have been elected to the Hall of Fame. So they started careers after Vinatieri, had their whole career, and at least a 5-year waiting period to get in the Hall of Fame. There are 22 of them.
One of them probably would have been a teammate in Seo.
Yeah, Seo, I believe, is one. Yeah, the last one, I remember, there are 22 of them. I remember the last one on the list was Alan Faneca, and Faneca waited like 7 years. That it was a crazy list of people. Let me see if I can find Adam Vinatieri Hall of Famers.
It is absolutely insane.
Like it's nuts how long he was around. But there are 22 of them. If I can find it out. People who Hall of Famers who started the same year as Vinatieri: Jonathan Ogden, Ray Lewis, Marvin Harrison, Brian Dawkins, Terrell Owens. Absolutely crazy.
It's nuts.
So, anyway,
wow.
But anyway, there are 22 of them. And I lost it earlier when I was searching for something else. So,
well, so from that, I guess because we've got a pretty light week, which is sort of nice because we've been sort of bombarded with a whole lot of stuff. I've been doing preliminary work on the rock and roll revisions.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much got it all sort of sorted out. Hopefully it'll be up next week. One's super easy. Everything else has been so hard. Eminem is going to be taking over at number 1.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people who can dispute that. As I'm sort of going through this, there's some comments like I've got to respond to because, man, some people are really stupid.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah. There's one recent on Cameo that says, you know that it's the white people's Hall of Fame and they stole everything from black people. That part's true. But then it went on to say that there's so many black rock and roll bands from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s that aren't in. I'm pretty sure there's no black rock and roll bands from the 1940s that are not in the Rock Hall.
Yeah, I mean, Marty McFly hadn't even gone back then and showed them what rock and roll was.
This is true. So, yeah.
And isn't Marvin Berry and the Starlighters in our Hall of Fame?
Yes.
So we've taken care of it. We're good. We've covered it.
Absolutely. And especially when he said, when he said like how it's, he misspelled the word no, N-O, he used K-N-O-W instead. So there's that. What are you gonna do?
So you have Eminem at number 2, right behind Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I take it.
Yeah, right behind Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Oh God, let me bring up what were some of the new ones. Two of the next two were super hard for me because I just, at some point you just don't even know where things should go. So I have Limp Bizkit, who is hated and loved depending on your point of view. I don't know that they were necessarily massively influential, but they remind me a lot of Kiss. This is a band that got a lot of people interested in music, a lot of younger people, and it was a gateway to a lot of other stuff. They sold out arena after arena after arena, sold piles of albums, and were for a lot of people their first foray into rock, the merge of rock and rap. They got a top 100 rank. The voting for them hasn't been as good because you can vote for people who aren't eligible yet, like on the site on the future eligible section. I'm really also paying attention to a lot of how some of the votes are. Some votes I just don't get at all. I really don't. Another one that's going to be just barely scraping in the top 100, and I hate this band. And I try to rewrite everything as I'm thinking about it. Nickelback will come in at 99. And I think Nickelback, and tell me if you think this is a fair assessment. A lot of the people who hate Nickelback, myself included, I think yourself included.
I don't hate Nickelback. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't actually hate Nickelback. I hate Styx. But a lot of people, Nickelback gets unfairly maligned as being the worst band ever when Train exists. So they've become more of a punchline as being the bad band that makes them seem worse than they are. And everybody has this Silver Side Up album who's like our age. Everyone has that album. They can pretend they don't. They do.
I didn't have it.
All right. Well, you're a little older than I am. So, but anyone who's like born from 76 to 82 all have that Silver Side Up album somewhere in their CD collection, presuming they still have the CD collection. We can pretend we don't, but we do.
I think with Nickelback, a lot of the hate just comes from their fans. And a lot of their fans are not exactly the music critic type. They're not the music snobs. Mm-hmm. And I think Nickelback is that band that if you really hate them, and I guess, do I hate them or do I hate their fans? I think that's more accurately what it is. They're not as bad as people say they are. And to the people who love them, they're not as good as you think they are. But what they have been able to do is take a hybrid of rock, pop, and a bit of adult contemporary, come up with something that their fans like, and there's a shit ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. And that type of success can't go ignored. It really can't. When people look back on Journey, is it just a couple of great songs that they like? Journey is a similar type of band to me.
I can see that. I feel Kiss is more like that than Limp Bizkit, though. I feel like Kiss is another one of crazy fans that critics hated.
Yes, that's also true. And I've been to like 3 Kiss shows. I love going to that. But at the same time, the music snob in me just says, Christine 16, what are you doing?
Hey, I love Ace Frehley. I love Peter Criss. They're waiting there for me. Sorry. Another polarizing band, Weezer, right there. Yeah, so those are the only 3 you have coming into your top 100?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so let me bring up the other ones. Spoon will debut probably at 131.
Good. I love Spoon so very much.
Yeah, so that they're going to be making their first appearance. Also, Fiona Apple was a tricky one. 212, probably.
Okay.
Actually, while we're doing that, as I was going through a lot of that, I'm guessing I'd get a lot of classic rock people because the voting skews pretty hard towards that. Snoop Dogg, actually, I'm noticing, has one of the worst voting of anyone.
Well, that's silly.
I think it is, but he like way worse than all the other rap acts, and I can't figure out why.
Is he the Donovan McNabb of the rap on your list?
Well, Donovan McNabb, I know a lot of people hate Donovan McNabb. I don't know that there's a whole lot of people who hate Snoop. That one's a little surprising. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, McNabb, you see hate all the time. Like when Donovan McNabb posted on Twitter that he says his stats are just as good as Aikman, which if you look at him, they are. He's not wrong. He says that. Holy shit, the backlash this guy gets. And I just don't get it. I really don't know. Like, did Donovan McNabb have sex with everyone's mom and we just don't know this?
He's a good enough looking guy, maybe. Who knows?
Possibly. Like, is it those or do they all hate chunky soup?
Or Donovan McNabb's mom from those commercials?
Yeah, exactly. And another one who gets completely obliterated, or not obliterated, and this is, I can't figure this one out at all. Sarah McLachlan.
That's stupid.
I don't understand. So, like, at first you think, well, maybe it's the whole misogynist thing, but no, Natalie Merchant, other little fair artists do considerably better in voting than she does. Like, the only thing I can think of.
Who do you think? Go ahead, keep going. Keep going.
The only thing I can think of is people are just pissed off at her because every time they think of her now, they think of some sick dog or something. Like, I got nothing. I don't get it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. See, I have a question though. Which of the main Lilith Fair artists do you think is the first one to get in the Rock Hall, or even get a nomination?
I'm not completely familiar with everyone who was on Lilith Fair, so.
Natalie Merchant, Sheryl Crow, Jewel, Sarah McLachlan, Ani DeFranco, Meredith Brooks. Well, there are a whole bunch of them.
I'd still say Sarah. I mean, just organizing that is something so huge. I don't see Natalie Merchant ever getting in.
She might get in with 10,000 Maniacs eventually if they ever get to that time of music, but they haven't done that yet. They've forgotten that music exists after 1986, except for first ballot Hall of Famers. Like, nobody after that's ever really getting in.
I don't see Sheryl Crow getting in either, but
I think Sheryl Crow's got a decent shot.
Perhaps better than the others. I don't know what it is. Why there's so much anti-Sarah McLachlan on the site. Not in terms of comments. There's no one's really leaving any about Sarah, but her vote total is so much lower than I would have thought. I don't get it.
No, no.
No.
All right. So how many other people did you have make your top list out of this group? I would see if I can guess them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how many more did you have?
Uh,
I got my list in front of me here.
3, 4. 4 for sure.
4 for sure.
Yeah. A couple more might, but I don't know yet.
Okay. So I'm going to go with the first one that sticks out to me. You haven't said anything about is Fatboy Slim.
Yes.
All right. So where does Fatboy Slim come in?
In the early 300s.
Okay. Interesting. How about Shakira?
Yes. 280 something.
Okay.
Still playing with it, but probably
Somewhere
around.
in there.
Yeah.
Now it gets interesting. I mean, Matchbox 20?
Yeah. 91%.
I saw them. What?
They have 91% approval on this.
Well, yeah, I saw them in college. They came to my school. Matchbox 20 and Third Eye Blind in a group concert.
I saw something twice as good. It was Matchbox 40 and 6 Eye Blind.
And the next band was Sum 41 was the next band we had come in. So
I'm gonna apologize to everyone. That was a bad dad joke even for me. Like that was.
I tried passing over it and going to the next thing, but all right. So now Modest Mouse.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, no. Modest Mouse was already on there last year, unless I got that
Oh,
wrong.
well, I have them this year, so maybe I went through and not everyone, I guess, always agrees with who goes where. So I have them up this year for the first time. Man, I don't even know. There's one more.
Yeah,
I'm presuming it's not a boy or girl band. I take it, correct?
it is.
Is it the Backstreet Boys or the Spice Girls?
That's true.
Spice Girls, okay. That makes a little more sense. They are more important probably in the development of music, I think, than the Backstreet Boys were.
I honestly think so. I truly do. But no, the Backstreet Boys will not be there. The others I'm considering are Mogwai, Placebo, Stained, and Doves.
What about the Hives?
I don't have them eligible right now this year.
Okay, because that's part of it too. Like who do you have and who don't you have? I have them.
They will definitely be top 100 for me. But
Okay.
Sometimes that's the other thing. I got to take my own likes and dislikes out of it, because it also too. If I were to, and I know I've said this before, if I were to revamp this entire thing just based on my own personal, everything would be totally different.
Right. Agreed.
What it is, because it does take into consideration votes that do come in, comments.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes sometimes these artists are still producing material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I heard today the first track off an album by the Wallflowers released their first album in 9 years. I heard a track off of them on the radio this morning.
So, and their dad, Jacob Dylan's dad, just turned 80. Alex Volter, I asked permission to use his tweet. Said he just turned 80, but the amount of correct pitches he's done is 6.
I used to care, but things have changed. So,
well, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Yes, yeah. Now, I think things have changed is probably my favorite Bob Dylan song. I know it's a much later one. It came out for Wonder Boys, the movie. But I've always liked that. I always like that song very, very much. I also very much like Weird Al's song Bob, which is just him singing palindromes as if he was Bob Dylan. So
nice. I should have come up with something like that. Final segue before we get into our segments. So Wayne Gretzky just signed on to be an analyst at TNT Sports or Turner Sports.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my impression of how that's going to sound. It's it's a team sport out there, eh? And as long as you as long as the puck's on the ice, and then I don't know why you just didn't score, because you just dipsy doodle. That's what I always did.
Very nice.
Yeah, which is my way of saying Gretzky will suck as an analyst. I love Wayne Gretzky, the hockey player. Wayne Gretzky, the orator, First, I could be wrong. Maybe he's going to be fantastic. I won't be wrong, but
You're saying there's a chance he'll be fantastic.
hey,
Never. I would date you for a million years. You're saying there's a chance.
Hey, I didn't think Chris Webber was going to be a good analyst, but I was proven wrong.
Yep. Weber's pretty good. So anyway, all right. So which segment are we going to first? Or are we doing the Death March? What do you want to do first?
I don't think there's any big major deaths, are there?
Not really. No.
All right, let's do that.
All right, get it out of the way here. All right, so so our Death March this week, again, as always, for those who are new, we start with the Beige Mistress, who's been fairly quiet. She's still quiet this week. She did kill a Hungarian football referee who was one of the referees from the 1994 World Cup, Sandor Pool.
Beige Mistress also, Evan noticed that a lot of Hungarians seem to die.
Yes.
That's sort of where we came up with that. This is our knockoff Black Widow.
Yeah, it's our knockoff Black Widow. So he was the referee during the championship game of the 1994 World Cup.
Yeah.
So he passed away from COVID at the age of 65. So in music news, we lost John Davis. Now, who is John Davis? He's got a very boring name. You've heard his voice but not seen his face, and that's the biggest clue I'm going to give you as to who John Davis was.
I don't know. Who would that be?
One of the actual people who recorded the songs for Milli Vanilli.
Oh shit! I just looked up about a year ago on for the How the Hell Did This Go to #1 show. Okay. Yes, he would have been I guess the rapper at the start.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's finished by Charles Shaw, John Davis, Brad Howell, Jody Rocco, and Linda Rocco were the people who recorded all the stuff for them. But yeah, so no, I'm sorry. No, John Davis is one of the actual singers.
Okay.
So Brad Howell and Davis are the actual singers.
All right, so he was Vanilli.
He was Vanilli, correct. Yeah, so he passed away at the age of hold on. He doesn't have a real page on Wikipedia. He passed away at the age of 66, also from COVID.
Yeah.
So COVID's still going. It's getting better, but it's still going on. There's still a lot of COVIDs when you go through stuff. So we also lost another person who you've heard but not seen, probably, Roger Hawkins, who is one of the members of the Muscle Shoals rhythm section, also known as the Swampers. He is the drummer for, you ready for this list of songs, including others?
Yeah.
When a Man Loves a Woman, Respect, I've Never Loved Anyone the Way I Love You, Mustang Sally, Land of a Thousand Dances. He did Old Time Rock and Roll, Main Street by Bob Seger, Loves Me Like a Rock, and Kodachrome by Paul Simon. I'll Take You There and Respect Yourself by the Staple Singers. Think by Aretha Franklin. Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett's cover of Hey Jude, like a ridiculous list of songs that we all know and love that you're never gonna know him, because he was just even James and Bobby Purify's I'm Your Puppet, which we talked about a few weeks ago. Yeah, we talked about when Bobby passed away, I don't know, 2 months ago. But Roger Hawkins, rock and roll legend that none of us have ever actually seen or heard or traveled. So he passed away at the age of 75 from heart disease.
I gotta admit, two of those songs though that you ran off are two songs that I absolutely despise.
Which ones?
I consider them awful wedding songs. Mustang Sally.
Okay.
I don't know why I hate it. I just hate it. Probably because I can just picture a bunch of fat white women just sort of like trying to dance and line dance and all that shit. And same with Old Time Rock and Roll. That song, I love Bob Seger. I hate that song. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Fair enough. Bob Seger just made songs for car commercials for a very long time. So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You broke up.
John Mellencamp.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but Mustang Sally, my association with that is when I worked at the New England Aquarium, we had the same 4 songs played before every Sea Lion show. And one of them was Mustang Sally. We also had Take Me to the River by the Talking Heads. It was like the same 4 songs 5 times, 6 times a day for months at a time. So, and I still don't hate Mustang Sally. So I don't know, but anyway,
it's just one of those songs that grates on me. I don't have a good reason. I just don't like it. Old Time Roll, I just lyrically, I just hate that. Just this whiny old guy who's just music today sucks. Maybe it sort of fits Seeger, who sounded 80 when he was 20. But that's the song I despise. But anyway, I've interrupted.
That's okay. We lost College Football Hall of Famer J.D. Roberts, who won the Outland Trophy in 1953. He was a 17th round draft pick of the 1954 draft. You would think that like someone winning the Outland Trophy wouldn't go 17 rounds before being picked. But he had a very short career in the NFL. He was actually coach of Houston and with the Saints. He had a head coaching record of 7-25-3 in the NFL, not the greatest. But he was a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. Passed away at the age of 88 earlier this week. Was running an oil and gas business for a large portion of his career. He actually was the coach of the Archie Manning-led Saints at one point, which was part of the reason that he didn't win anything. I hate saying it that way, but it's true. Yeah. From the world of wrestling, we lost Paul Christie this week. Do you know Paul Christie?
Yeah, he was this independent guy. He had like a cup of coffee in the WWE. There was this horrible promo that he did that pretty much made sure that they'd never use him again. It was so stupid.
Okay.
I'll have to send it to you by YouTube. It's just it's when Vince McMahon had that weekly show and he was trying to be like a Johnny Carson type.
Okay.
And so Paul Christie comes out and he says, like, I'm rich, I'm everything about me, it's great, I'm sexual. Yeah. It's not a great impression of it. It was that he was just lost, which considering he would have been in his mid-40s at the time.
Yeah. How
he couldn't do a promo at that stage was
particularly said he billed himself and his wife as the wrestling Bonnie and Clyde in International Championship Wrestling. So
okay, I didn't even know that. Yeah, you know who used to own that? That was Randy Savage's dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the ICW championship from Randy Savage, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
At one point. So, but he was married to Bunny Burmeister, better known as Bunny Love, and yeah, she was his manager. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 82 earlier this week. From the world of baseball, we lost Joe Beckwith, who was a member of the '85 World Series Kansas City Royals, also a member of the '79 through '83 Dodgers. Relief pitcher. Played for, 8 years, 9 years, but was a member of that Royals team. Passed away from colon cancer, which is the same thing Dan Quisenberry died from that same team. Or Quisenberry died of brain cancer, actually, but two of the members of that bullpen have now passed from cancer. But Beckwith was only 66 when he passed. I also want to bring up the Gansu ultramarathon disaster that we had this week. You heard about that?
What?
There's an ultramarathon in China. You know what an ultramarathon is?
No.
Okay. So an ultramarathon is running 100 kilometers across country in an event. So like 62 miles cross country. So they're running this canyon, the Yellowstone or Riverstone Forest in China. It was a very nice day, and then all of a sudden terrible weather came up, and 21 of the 172 participants froze to death.
Holy shit.
Yeah. There's a shepherd who rescued like 6 people who had passed out in the snow and carried him into his like little hut to save their lives. We had 21 people passed away in this ultramarathon race. earlier this week in China. So a lot of the people who survived were pretty bad condition for a while. So
is like it's an international competition, so I imagine it's not just people from China in this.
this one seemed to be mostly Chinese folks, from what I could tell. But I actually, believe it or not, I actually came across ultramarathoning originally back when I was an attorney because we were doing an investigation. We were defending our company that we were defending against the Department of Justice. We had to take the hard drive of the head of legal for this company, and his entire hard drive was three things: work stuff about ultramarathoning, and porn. This is a huge multinational corporation, the head of legal, that's in trouble with the Department of Justice for not following legal stuff. Like over half of his work hard drive was porn. But yeah, that's where we found out about ultramarathoning, because he had all these pictures of like these crazy races that he was in. So I was back in 2008, 2009, probably where I first heard about it. But yeah, I wouldn't do a normal marathon on a road. Why would I do 100 kilometers cross country? That's crazy.
I'll have to ask Glenn about that.
Absolute nuts. So, but anyway, I just want to point that out. Nobody in particular who we know, but that was just an absolutely crazy thing that happened this week. And then just one other person I wanted to bring up who passed away this week. Well, actually, we have a couple. So Kevin Clark, who played Freddie Jones in musical comedy School of Rock, was killed today, actually.
Yeah, I saw that.
When he was cycling in Chicago. He was only 32 when he passed.
Did it say what he passed of?
He got hit by a car while biking, by riding a bicycle.
Damn.
So that was not the greatest. We lost Mark York, who was Billy Merchant on The Office. I don't know if you ever watched him. But he passed away at the age of 55.
Which character?
And he was Billy Merchant, who was the property manager, who was physically disabled. He was in a wheelchair.
Okay, well, I
don't know if you remember that. He passed away, and we lost Sebastian from The Little Mermaid.
I've never.
Oh, you never saw The Little Mermaid?
I don't have kids, man.
Oh man, yeah, again. But anyway, Sebastian from Little Mermaid, played by Samuel Wright, passed away at the age of 74 earlier this week from prostate cancer. But most importantly, to kids everywhere, Eric Carle passed away. Do you remember the writer Eric Carle?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Brown Bear. Like, if you ever have, you may never have kids.
No. That window is officially closed.
If you ever have nieces or nephews who you're reading books to, it's going to be like an Eric Carle book. They're like the absolute classics of early reading to kids stuff. Multi-million seller of books. Probably one of the most important children's authors of the last 100 years. Passed away at the age of 91. So
I have a niece, but she doesn't speak English, so
I'm sure they'd have it translated into multiple languages. So
I'd have to go to Indonesia, and I'm not going back to that country. Twice I left there sick each time.
Oh, I told you my time in Indonesia. What happened on my 30th birthday?
Yeah, you told me that.
I got by a monkey and shocked by a exposed wire within about 20 minutes. So I saw the scar right here in my arm. It's not impressive anymore. It's right there. I got bitten by the monkey.
So basically, don't you know you were going to shock the monkey? You didn't know that?
Yeah, I know. I wanted to make the monkey get hurt, but it was a sacred monkey for us, and you apparently can't punch them after they bite you. So,
well, that's why I think I got sick the first time, because there was monkeys all over me, and then I was.
Well, I also got sick because the next day we went kayaking, and at the end of the kayaking, the guide was like, "Hey, anyone just want to jump in the water?" And I thought that the water, because it's the River Ayong, was pretty shallow most of the way. I thought the river was going to be like up to my waist. I went under and swallowed some of the water.
Yeah.
And I had a very bad next 2 to 3 days after that. So
Yeah, Indonesia 2, Kirk 0. I don't think I'm going back. That's
Oh, I'd 100% go back. I'll go back for you. So
yeah, sounds good. So I guess we've got 2 segments left. I'll start. It's the elevator up, elevator down. My elevator up is, and just for those wondering what that is, it's who has sort of made a better case for the Hall of Fame. And it's when there's not that much happening, it's you're really sort of like coming up from grabbing from thin air. But your Red Sox are doing exceptionally well, and so I've selected JD Martinez, who last year was awful, and
he was not good last year. No,
no,
he was
yeah,
not good last year.
yeah, and
But the whole team was awful last year.
true, yeah, but in his early 30s, I think he's 33. He doesn't have a whole lot of time left. He's probably not going to make the Baseball Hall of Fame, but I think a lot of people are talking about Xander Bogaerts as possibly the Red Sox candidate for the MVP. JD is having a fantastic year. He is, I think, an MVP candidate at this stage.
Agreed.
Yeah, and he just hit his 250th home run sometime recently. I don't know exactly when, but he's reached that mark. He's now done more than enough that he's definitely going to be already on the ballot for sure and get a few votes. Right. The Red Sox, if they do what they're continuing to do, maybe make a World Series run, he will. He's definitely improving. What are minuscule chances? Because he only has a WAR of under 30 right now. I think that'll go past that this year, from what I last checked. But I think Martinez is having a fantastic year, and it should sort of be commended at this point.
Yeah, he only has 3 All-Star appearances. He does have a championship ring with the Red Sox in 2018, his first year. He finished 4th in the MVP voting that year. 250 homers, 775 RBIs, 1,270 hits. He needs.
Oh, yeah, he needs a lot more. But I would, after last year, I was ready to write him off.
Yeah, he had 213 last year.
Yeah.
So, but
I think his OBP was under 300.
Yeah. Yeah, he's hitting 320 so far. His OPS is 975, which is pretty good. He's probably going to make the All-Star team. Yeah, that's a pretty good elevator up. At least he's putting himself in a position where he has another couple seasons. He's going to be.
It's possible.
It's not out of. It's gone from 1% to like 8%.
Oh my God, yeah. And my elevator down is someone who's going to make the Hall of Fame anyway, because commissioners always do. But mine's David Stern, or not David Stern. Sorry, Adam Silver.
Adam Silver. Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess the second week in a row, I'm sort of dumping on LeBron a bit, but rules for LeBron and not rules for everyone else. So LeBron went out to an event for a tequila company that he was involved in, broke the NBA accepted rule for COVID, and he got a special rule. Adam Silver, I like Adam Silver, I really do, but he's too far up the player's ass for the most part, I think. It's LeBron is more of a commissioner right now than Adam is in some ways.
Because, I mean, didn't Porzingis then just got busted for it too?
Right. And even James Harden, early in the season. So got a rule for LeBron and not for everyone else. Now, I'm not going to shit on LeBron. Actually, I said I was going to shit on LeBron. I'm not shitting on LeBron for that because he got away with it. What am I going to do? Get mad? You don't hate the player, you hate the game. So I'm hating on the game. Adam Silver has, and the other thing too, if we always look at this stuff when it comes to how commissioners are growing the league, the NBA and COVID has had a lot to do with it, but eyeballs on the league are dropping. Is that Adam Silver? I don't think so, but it's happening under his watch.
Well, I mean, you can tell something's going on because they're talking about expansion. They're expansion rumblings again, which it's always a sign that people are getting nervous about the health of the league. Mm-hmm. Those 2 teams, by the way, are probably, in my guess, going to be Seattle and Vegas, and they'll just shift Minnesota east, or either Minnesota or Memphis. I'd say probably Minnesota because that's up with Milwaukee and Chicago and everybody else anyway. But yeah, it's weird because LeBron, honestly, I mean, the whole player empowerment thing is good because they are the ones who actually have the talent and not, they should be getting more, they should have more to say in what they're doing. But other than the decision, he hasn't made many real missteps in his career. He's been famous.
China.
Well, okay. But I mean, everybody's making a misstep in China this week, apparently.
John Cena. Did you see that?
John Cena, you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think LeBron wrote that speech for him.
He might have.
Jesus Christ. But to be fair, though, LeBron's got the entire weight of the league. Nobody gives a shit when anyone else says anything else. James Harden's a former MVP, and he said much worse. Oh, man, we love China.
Yeah.
You know, and LeBron's trying to be diplomatic, but at the end of the day, he's got to protect his buddy's money too.
Yeah.
You and I would do the same thing. You know, and I think that's what some of us kind of forget. LeBron wasn't just protecting his own interest. He's protecting that of James, that of Steph Curry, and every other NBA player who's got a deal there and who's making good money there. He's got to look at it that way. And that's sort of why a lot of players won't take a hometown discount when they're a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they take a discount, they're lowering the value for their peers.
Mm-hmm.
They are. And it's the shitty side of business we don't want to talk about, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so to me, Adam Silver, again, he's going to be, they're all commissioners always inducted for the most part. But I was really disappointed in his decision here. I know why he did it, but I hate rules for one player, not for the others. And I don't think this would happen in any other league right now.
I do have to say, Adam Silver has dropped from the number 1 commissioner to the number 2 commissioner, with the other 3 commissioners tied for 5th. So, because I mean, he's still he would need to screw up 4 years straight in order to even approach Bettman, who I think is technically in second. Really, I put Bettman ahead of Goodell, and then Rob Manfred is somewhere between Attila the Hun and that white stuff that forms at the corner of your mouth when you're really thirsty.
He's a more useless commissioner than Jack Tunney when he was the commissioner of the WWF, and it was fake. And he really wasn't the commissioner.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I pulled out a quote there from Con Air, and you didn't get it. Come on, Con Air, it's the top front of everyone's mind.
I haven't seen that since it came out.
Yeah. John Malkovich talking to Danny Trejo, who's the rapist. He goes, for me, rapist is somewhere between, I can't remember the first thing, and the white stuff that forms of the corner of your mouth when you're really thirsty. It was just so like specific and weird that I always remember that line. So except I don't remember the first half of the line because it wasn't specific and weird, but the second half definitely was.
Nice.
So,
and once again, you have the hammer, sir.
I do. Yes, it's very nice of you. So I'm going to start with the good. Are we doing any sound effects, or we're just going to let it go?
Well,
very nice.
We have the bad and the ugly of sports this week. What do we got?
So the good, I'm just going to go with a position, and that's goalie across sports. So I know a few weeks ago, for people to know, Liverpool ended up finishing in a Champions League's position, mainly because their goalie scored the first goal that a goalie had ever scored with his head in Premier League history, when Alisson had a perfect header in the side netting. And my team, Leicester City, ended up in 5th, and the whole thing sucks, and I'm sad. But anyway, we've had more goalies stuff this week, and I want to bring up someone who actually lost tonight. I hope I'm not ruining this for anybody, but Tampa knocked out the Panthers tonight. But I want to spend a minute talking about their goaltender, Mr. Knight here. Why can't I think of his first name? Spencer Knight. So Spencer Knight, who won game 5 of the playoffs, has played in 8 elimination games across multiple leagues this calendar year.
Holy crap.
So he has played in elimination for the. Hold on, I gotta find it. Let me just get it. Hold on, I somehow lost it. Here. Yeah, he played in 2 in the NHL playoffs. His first one, he gave up a goal in his first shot and then saved the next 36 in order to get the win in Game 5. Now, like I said, they lost Game 6 tonight. But Spencer Knight became the youngest goaltender since Tom Barrasso to win a elimination playoff game. Tom Barrasso was 20 years and 14 days for Game 4 of 1985 when he was playing with the Buffalo Sabres. But that was the last player his age or younger to win an elimination game. But he has won. Trying to find it right here. He's gone 5-2. Or is now 5-3. He has had elimination games in the World Juniors, Hockey East, NCAA tournament, and Stanley Cup playoffs. Went 5-2 in the first 7 with a .927 save percentage, including a shutout in the World Junior Championship gold medal game.
Holy crap!
Not bad for a 20-year-old kid.
He's American?
He is. Yeah, he went to BC.
Okay.
But yeah, good. I mean, 20-year-old coming in his first playoff game against Stamkos and the defending champion Lightning, gives up a goal in his first shot and then just stones him the rest of the way. Now, they figured him out tonight. They lost 4-0. He gave up 3 of the goals. He only had an .870 save percentage. He stopped 20 out of 23. But again, he's 20 years old. And it's not like the rest of the Panthers goalies were really doing much to help them anyway. So good on him. And good on the Panthers for making the playoffs and actually doing something. They won more games than the Capitals, Blues, and Oilers combined. So good for them. But the other one I want to bring up is Geronimo Rulli today. Do you have any idea what sport Geronimo Rulli plays?
Lacrosse.
No, he's a soccer goalie.
Okay.
He's the goalie for.
You're being all tricky here. Huh?
Yeah, I know. I set it up that way. He's the goalie for Villarreal. Villarreal won the Europa Cup, which is like the secondary club tournament in Europe today. They were 1-1 through extra time with Manchester United in the championship, and they went to penalty kicks. 10 straight players on each team made their penalty kick. 20 straight penalty kicks. So that means they have to go to the only players left on the field, the goalkeepers. It was goalkeeper on goalkeeper penalty kick. Rulli stepped up and scored his and then blocked David De Gea's to win the Europa Cup today.
That's awesome.
Amazing. It was absolutely awesome. It was also awesome kind of to see. Villarreal has never won a major cup before and on the international level. So it was great for them to win something. And it was also kind of fun to watch Manchester United lose because it's like watching the Yankees lose. I don't hate Manchester United, but why root for the guys with all the money?
That's how I feel about the Leafs.
Yeah, I can understand that. The Leafs wish they were Manchester United, though.
I'm sure they do. in terms of the pocketbook, yes.
Yeah. All right, so my bad this week, I'm going to go to a man who is famous for making brash phone calls, Shannon Sharpe. You could say I'm still bitter over his sideline call out the Army, call out the National Guard because we're killing the Patriots that he did when he was with the Broncos. But his call to Julio Jones would have been cool, except for the fact Julio Jones had no idea he was live on the air. And that becomes an ambush, and that now changes. While there were rumors before, that now completely changes the ability of a franchise to get adequate. Like, he's getting out of there. They're going to trade him. He's probably ending up with the Patriots, which is nuts to me. Because he only ever wants to go to the Patriots or the Titans. The Titans have $3 million of cap space. The Patriots have $16 million of cap space.
Titans? Why the Titans?
I mean, I guess just the rest of that receiving core. I mean, he and AJ Brown would be ridiculous to try and cover.
Jones is one of the top receivers in the league.
But the Titans would have to like cut 3 players basically to get him there. Now he's not going to get traded till after June 1st, which is only like a week away. Because if they trade him before that, it costs them $200,000 against the cap. They trade him after that, they save like $14 million against the cap, and they only have $400,000 in cap space, which is how this part of the reason this all got started in the first place. But just Shannon, you are now a journalist. I hate saying that because he doesn't feel like he's a journalist to himself, but he's now a journalist, and doing something like that where you're putting someone live without them knowing about it kind of sucks. So I'm not saying it's the worst thing, it's only bad. But you can't ambush people like that and completely make it crazy. So, yeah, it's going to be weird if Julio Jones apparently wants to play for the Patriots because he's like best friends with Cam Newton. And I'm like, he does know that Cam Newton can't throw above knee level, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you mentioned Marty McFly. I mean, you're picking the wrong year to sort of like team up with Cam Newton right now. I don't know what Cam Newton's got left. I was really cheering for him to really do well, and I don't know what he's got left.
To be fair to Newton, he was good until he got COVID. So he got COVID right after that Seattle game where they had a chance to win and he got tackled at the 1-yard line last year. And then he got COVID, and he just said that he was having vision trouble and he was blurry-eyed for a little bit. I don't know if he fully really recovered. Now, his arm strength wasn't great anyway, but his first 4 games he was pretty good. And then after that, he was very bad. So that may have had something to do with it. If he recovers from that, I may also be making excuses for him without meaning to. But we'll see what a full off season does and a year and some time off from actually throwing, if that makes a difference. And if it doesn't,
you're good.
I mean, if it doesn't, that's why they drafted Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones starts at some point this year.
Oh, I agree.
I just hope it's not like week 2. He needs a little time to figure everything out first. And
this leaves us with the ugly. And as soon as I saw this story, I was pretty sure this was where you were going to go with it.
Yeah. To quote the great Silky Johnson, what can I say about Mickey Callaway that hasn't been said about Afghanistan? Yeah. So Mickey Callaway has been placed on the ineligible list through the end of next season. So this entire season and the end of next season, that he was serving currently as a pitching coach of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Orange County of California. And he has been suspended. Why was he suspended, Kirk?
He pulled a Roberto Alomar.
I don't know if Roberto Alomar was even that bad. I'm trying to think of somebody worse than Roberto Alomar.
Well, technically we don't really know everything that Alomar did, but yeah, he was inappropriate.
Yeah. So
many women.
So his time as the Indians pitching coach, the New York Mets manager. There's no official things I think from his time with the Angels. But he hasn't been there that long. They were sending inappropriate photos and requesting nude pictures from and thrusting his crotch in a reporter's face when she attempted an interview.
Oh, I didn't know he did that.
What?
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah. So, and since he's not Peyton Manning got away with it, or didn't get away with it.
Wow.
Again, whatever. I need to lay off Peyton Manning. What he did in college to that trainer is a court record and sealed, but you know what he did. So Callaway was fired and suspended for essentially for sexual harassing people who were reporting to him and other women around him. So
what is he? He's in his late 40s, early 50s.
I think so. He seems like he's there. I don't know how old Mickey Callaway is.
Well,
aren't that many Mickeys left out there in the world. He is 46.
Okay, 46. So, well, I mean, obviously old enough to know better at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. How do you get caught doing all these things why do you do all these things? Like, if that's your instinct, when so many people have been busted for this and have lost their career over what? Over sending a dick pic? How stupid can you be?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always like, it's like when Hugh Grant was with Elizabeth Hurley and got caught with, what was her name? Divine Brown? Divine Brown.
Yeah, but that I can understand a bit.
How?
Here's how. It's like Chris Rock said, didn't matter. Every time you're eating, maybe it's not Chris Rock, but every time you're sort of like eating steak, sometimes you get tired of steak.
Interesting.
And that was something that, I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily go from steak to what he went with, but that was a consensual transaction, which was also illegal.
It was a consensual transaction. That is true.
So
what happened to Callaway is not, but it just seems like some people, what I'm trying to say is I think some people just can't, regardless of the situation they're in, just can't control themselves in certain situations.
I think also sometimes some people just don't even understand what they're doing is wrong. But I don't know how.
That may also be true.
I honestly don't know how people still might think that. And not that I'm trying to get all hyper woke and shit like that. But there's example after example after example after example.
Yeah. I mean, he did win the Taiwan Series championship in 2009 as a player of the Uni-President 7-Eleven Lions. I mean, the cachet that comes with that, you're just used to, people just.
Sorry, Taiwan, I mean that place that's not a country, according to John Cena?
I'm not allowed to confirm or deny that island even actually exists.
Well, I have no problem being banned in China.
I only refer to it by its colonial name of Formosa. So, because that's somehow better. No. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what he was doing. So.
And the sad thing is, Evan, I guarantee you, there's going to be a lot more of the ugly segments that you do. It'd be dumbasses like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Because they just don't learn.
Yeah. Keep your dick in your pants. And if you can't take your dick in your pants, don't take a picture of it and send it to somebody who doesn't want it.
I am so happy I got married before all that stuff. There's just no angle to make this look good.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Maybe that's where we should close off, huh?
Probably. Yeah, it probably seems a good place. But yeah. So what are we doing next week? Do we have anything?
Next week, there's always going to be something that'll come up. Working on basketball revisions, but there's no new player to even look at.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we looked at it. I think the top two people isn't Manu up? Manu Ginobili?
I think so. Yeah, but even
I think it's Ginobili and Joe Johnson are the two.
Yeah,
like even potential Hall of Fame. I'm not saying Joe Johnson's a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying those are the only two people would even be on the radar for the next 2022.
And if Ginobili doesn't have his international
stuff with his international stuff too.
Yeah.
So
but something will come up. Someone will there'll be some retirement, somebody die, somebody's gonna take a dick pic that they shouldn't. Well, you can take a dick pic. It's when you send the dick pic.
Mm-hmm.
They always get found.
Well, that's the thing. When you send someone something from your phone, they know where it came from. It's this weird thing. And even if you're sending a picture of a dick that is not yours, that doesn't matter.
That's what I would probably have had to do. And on that note.
Oh, boy. Don't mind me. I'm just going to be drinking my Johnny Walker Black here.
Nice. Coke, straight Coke. That's all I got.
Good for you, my friend. All right, I will talk to you later.
All right, take care. Stay safe, everybody.